Greetings, I am Liz, and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's play a game together!
Alright.
Yay, so welcome back. The plot is afoot, or something like
The
that.
plot is an amaze!
The plot is
amazing.
Catch them with their pants down.
Hi, whoa. Portia leads me into the garden through the maze, stopping in front of a large stone arch. When we walk through it...
We stop in front of it. When we walk through it.
We tumble right into dank-looking tunnels I've never seen before.
Oh, well, there we go.
Without missing a beat, Portia leads me down a few winding paths until we reach a certain stretch of wall. I can hear muffled voices on the other side.
And I don't question this at all.
No questions, no thoughts, no discussion. But again, if you don't know what's going on, a lot of people do sort of freeze up and go quiet. And like in this case, though, for Corazon being like, oh, just be quiet. This is interesting. I'm taking it all in. Fascinating.
Also going, oh, there's magic at the palace, but I won't remark on it
at all. Which is actually, again, really funny. Magic is hard to come by. Magic is everywhere.
It'd be really interesting to have, your MC be like, clearly this is a portal of some kind. Like, at least, earmark it in some way.
Some acknowledgement of something. It's fine.
Here, look.
She removes a black brick from the wall and gestures for me to look through. She removes a brick from the wall. It's fine.
Okay.
It could be a black brick.
Oh my god.
Right into the salon, where all the courtiers are gathered. Wait.
Okay,
the salon is underground?
Or there is underground.
Or you're making the claim that the servant pathways, one, can be accessed by going through the garden portal.
And two,
that they're damp and gross and disgusting, and that doesn't leak through into the rest of the house and cause serious damage to the foundation or the wood or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody notices the smell. I'm sorry.
That is not moldy and mildewy, and the dripping water isn't causing problems. And
it doesn't threaten the integrity of anything in that house.
I think they're also suggesting that this isn't a servant pathway. This is just a secret pathway. Because in old houses, and in, back in the day, but especially with Victorian, with British sensibilities, right?
I know.
You would have servant pathways so that your help could navigate the house without being seen or obtrusive, because they didn't, they weren't supposed to be in the areas unless they were doing a function there. And other times you would have actual secret passages, which a lot of people would then see as secret passageways later, but it was just servant passageways.
I feel
very ordinary.
Honestly, vaguely, like what I'm seeing is somebody trying to write, basically Gormenghast. Mm-hmm. So I only watched the, I think it was the BBC short series that they did.
Okay.
But Gormenghast was very much that classic, like very, very ridiculously overblown, basically English or European styled housing structure, so this giant, huge, ancient castle with millions of byways and whatever else, but also so you really would have to learn the house. Like, you could just get lost in the house, right? This enormous structure, and it was also degrading, falling apart.
So you could really get lost in a dangerous place.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, like, it had magic in it too. But I just so part of my brain's just like, it feels like the intersection feels really jarring. I don't know.
I'll say the next step is going. If that's just a secret passage, then you'd think it'd be rather easy with all the guests that seemingly come through here for someone to just walk through a stone arch with no particular, thoughts.
Portia, is her headband enchanted to go, hey, I'm the one who needs to go somewhere, so it kicks you somewhere else, but it would only allow her because you don't have any devices with you?
As far as I understand, based on the one premium scene that you can buy in the the other prologue, or the what is now the standard prologue, it just works. They're just magical passageways that you just have to walk through correctly. Like, if you walk through the arch from the other side, it doesn't do anything, but if you walk through it from that side, it does. There was this whole thing. There's a whole thing in magic stuff where it's occasionally like, you have to walk the proper path. If you go around the left side of the tree, you don't go somewhere special.
No, I know. I know that exists, but again, I'm like, I don't understand how the magic in this world works anyway, because we either can use magic, we can't suddenly use magic, we do use magic, we don't know how to use magic. Like, they cannot decide what we can and can't do.
The problem I'm having, forget any of that. Just forget that, it would smell like mold or mildew or moisture or be a problem that would be degrading the castle. Forget any of that.
Yeah.
These are plastered and wallpapered walls.
Yes.
How do you pull a brick out of those without just tearing the paper or crumbling the plaster? And are we suggesting that Nadia really does have, the brick and mortar is falling apart in such a way that you can just slide it out? And also, what is the brick next to / behind where someone wouldn't see that?
And it's never been a thing that your character or even anyone else, like your servants that you could use as exposition that do and don't exist, to go, God, this whole entire section is falling down again, blah, 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 whatever.
Yes,
you know,
falling apart. Nadia going, the castle needs repair as well, actually. We have a moisture problem.
Yeah,
And that's part of your plot.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, anyway.
Right into the salon, where all the courtiers are gathered.
We've never seen them
The
all in one
view
place
is an
since the
angle I
beginning.
haven't seen before, and parts of my vision are obscured. I suddenly realize where I'm viewing.
Let's find out. What are we behind?
In the salon,
What are we behind?
there are eye holes cut out of the portrait hanging in the salon. That nameless blonde woman. I moved a brick to get to her eyeballs.
So this is an extremely deliberate, but like not completely designed. So there are a lot of places where you have deliberate peek holes.
Yeah.
Where like you'll have an unlatchable and pullable, you know, little like strap or something, or tiny like cabinet, if you will, that will like remove part of a painting attached to it. And then you can look through that and then click it closed, and it just fits into the painting again like a puzzle piece. I say, but suggesting that one, the portrait has been defaced, and two, that they defaced it to just have the space behind it have an opening in it. If you ever took down the portrait, which often doesn't happen, but if people clean thoroughly would happen, then you just have a hole in the wall. You just have damage. Someone would fix it if they didn't know why it was there. So all the servants either know it's there, or all the ones that do dusting and cleaning and portrait care do.
Yes.
I would say also no one's noticed the damage in the portrait because it isn't sealed up or put away later. And lastly, we're saying that these corridors are higher than the other parts of the room based on the height of that picture.
Also,
the floor.
blonde is BLONDE for a woman.
Oh.
A woman actually is BLONDE. I remember this because somebody actually specifically was like, it's BLOND if it's a man.
Oh, so it's gendered. I
it
didn't
is
know.
blonde is actually gendered. It is one of those weird words that I didn't know that either because I'd been writing blonde BLONDE for years.
For everybody.
But BLOND is actually the masculine version of that word.
It's like fiance and fiance with the e or not extra e or not e.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. Which was what was me is that word. Well, French, but all of our words are something else.
Borrowed from something.
I was gonna say is actually gendered, and you can have this fiance is a man and this fiance is a woman. And it's spelled differently.
Yeah, so that's the thing is that nameless blonde. You could have even stopped there with the E, and the implication would have been there, and people would have been confused why you didn't say blonde woman. But the thing is blonde with an E already says what it is.
Except
that nameless blonde because it would have been a woman.
That's true.
Only blondes with an E.
So I am still just astounded that behind these walls there is a path, and I wish I could touch the screen without it advancing because I'd love to show you. But basically, like, where the molding is below the portrait, so the top of the chair below the portrait is gonna be basically where your feet are based on the implied height of this room and the height of the chairs and stuff. And like the height of the harp, if that's where Nadia sits for a harp. So harps are big, tall things, and that's your normal sitting height, right? So Portia's short and doesn't have to stand on anything to look through this hole. So yeah, the floor back there is raised, the entire pathway. So you would have somebody with oh, we're gonna remodel the castle, let's sledgehammer this wall down. And like the bottom of it is just solid castle.
Yeah. That is really weird.
That's
you're in a
interesting.
sunken room. I don't know. I'm having architecture.
Or a raised hidden corridor.
Yeah, I'm having weird issues with what we went down to go up, or are we still somehow down?
Well, and it was didn't we go down passageways down into like a
and also like the physical descriptor of the castle, or the way they like to artistically at least frame the castle is raised and imposing. It is very much a Disney castle on a cliff sort of experience. Like not necessarily that, but you get what I mean. Like Rohan is on top of something.
It's at the top of a hill.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't understand this. Also the way that we've described the water in the canals, that it's flowing down, that means that it is definitely on a hill, so I especially don't understand what the hell is going on with this architecture makes no sense. I'm fine. I have a sneaking suspicion Portia's the one to have cut them out.
Whoa. What? So Portia took over the cleaning and care of that portrait, defaced it, destroyed the wall, and then created her own peek hole.
Why?
Why would you?
One, how do you have that skill so nobody fucking notices that you have destroyed a centerpiece, because
Uh-huh.
it is like the thing that
In
your
this
character
room.
literally cannot shut up about.
Uh-huh.
Every single time. The woman in the thing, woman over there, the woman, I'm like,
There's a giant portrait, yes.
it's also like the most pronouncedly obvious thing of black and basically white compared to the contrast of the other colors. That thing is the center of attention. That is the dumbest. I'm fine.
It's okay.
I'm,
Also,
I'm like,
just
you just want to get caught. That's fine.
So the interesting thing for me is one, Portia had to be able to like cut through the plaster / wallpaper, etc. Also dig out the mortar and then and decide to deface this painting. But also, why was it important enough to see into the parlor previously throughout her history here that she did this?
Nadia has only been awake for, what, 3 months?
Like about 3 months.
So, and also, like, this is what I'm saying, this is ridiculous. This timeline suddenly makes no sense. And again, where would Portia get these skills?
Or even if, like, again, whether
Does
she
she
had
know
help.
how to restore paintings? Does she know how to interact with paintings?
Maybe she just tore it down.
She
and
went
just
to
cut through
Baumgartner
it.
Institute,
I don't know.
and she learned how to restore.
The thing is it's hard to deface a painting without it being obvious.
Yeah.
That's what I will say. As well as, like, depending on how thick the paint is, it can be very difficult to
You
cut
could chip
holes,
off oil.
to cut holes into a painting
Or
without it just cracking
gouache.
off other things. Gouache.
Gouache.
Gouache?
It's gouache.
Oh, damn it, gouache. Anyway, so let's just assume she has the skills. Why would she have done this? And I'm just like, that seems wild. All right,
It's fine.
suspicion. Also, it doesn't say she's actually done it. It just says we suspect, but usually what we suspect is the truth of the game.
This is what I'm saying, like, our character basically, like, we just get all the answers, no questions asked. Consul Valerius is reclined on one of the sofas with a fresh glass of wine in his hand.
I don't think he ever doesn't have a glass in his hand.
Actually, to be honest, 3 other courtiers sit near him, with also a man who specifically has, like, 900 bottles lining him like, he's wearing a gun belt.
Oh,
Prepared.
a bandolier of wine bottles.
A bandolier of wine bottles prepared! Because if we're going to say that apparently he's been an alcoholic this whole time...
And someone is constantly refilling his glass. Can you
Yeah.
imagine? You just have this one personal servant that just has this, again, like bandolier or specialized like wine cabinet backpack of bottles that just stands with you to refill constantly and to always have a drink. And they don't have to leave the
Wine
room.
cabinet!
Yes,
the man, their nickname is Wine Cabinet.
They're just like, wine cabinet. I love that.
And they're just wandering.
This is fine.
Easiest job.
It pays reasonably well. I just have to stand here and wear a backpack. It's fine.
I'm basically possibly more or less a strong arm build because those things you wear, a lot of them, they're heavy.
Okay. Wine bottles that are full are not lightweight.
No,
you
not
carry
at all.
that around all day. Right.
3 other courtiers sit near him: Volta, Vergora, and Vlastimil.
Okay.
Tell me, Valerius, when you arrested her.
Hold on. I have a problem.
Okay.
All the courtiers are there. Him and 3 others. There's one more. So, Valdemar doesn't exist? Or we don't count them?
Valdemar, as far as I can tell, doesn't exist, is what they were saying.
I was gonna say, and then if they are in this scene, it'd be like, we just shat on you, we didn't acknowledge you existed at all.
I do also have to say that due to the stylization of the eyes, where they decided to have poor Vulgura's eye, I'm always like, you look like you have, you look like you have a wandering eye.
Okay, I can see that because of the
Because I can
angles.
look at it, because of how high up it is suddenly compared to the other one.
Yeah, and how strongly angled the one behind the nose is.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
Hey, they could have a lazy eye. You don't know.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, it looks either like it was a mistake or something, especially for how much their face seems to be actually closer towards being dead on. So I'm like, are you saying that they have a lazy eye, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I hadn't really thought
When
about
you
it.
arrested her,
I need to know. Tell me.
Did you cry? Did you beg for mercy?
Okay, you do not pay any attention to Nadia at all, because she doesn't emotion. Her whole plot is I don't emotion, and I'm learning to emotion. Looks at him, see, with you, I have these feelings that I've never had before, or I've never been able to express before.
Oh, Volgora, that is so rude. She has done nothing to us, our countess. Must we do this?
Says the useless fool who could not even get Valdemar to join us. You had one job, asshole!
I need the MC to go, Valdemar, who's that? Since we say all the courtiers are here. That'd be such a plot.
I mean, the thing is didn't we ran into, though, Valdemar in the intro, so you cannot say that.
I know.
We already know who Valdemar is, because our main character, regardless of whoever they are, apparently has a memory either like iron, or unless the plot calls for them to strategically forget.
Like a steel trap.
Ah! Things slide through it all the time.
No, Volgora, Volta, you're missing the real problem here. Pet's adorable little worm. I just love the idea of a teacup worm. It just makes me so happy. This little decorative nonsense pet just sort of gently squirming in your arm, wearing a cute diamond collar. It just makes me so happy. Who is going to feed my worms while I'm wasting time in court? Oh, my darling wormies. Pets that very, 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 like, aggressively, affectionately. They will starve. Makes gurgling and crunching noises. Everyone.
They're a weird little skexy worm.
Yes.
Valeria sighs loudly, and then casually sits up, surveying all of them. I am in hell.
Hell.
The fact of the matter is, since Nadia awoke, our lives have become increasingly difficult.
Okay. So, somehow, Nadia doesn't know, or is trying to pretend that they don't know, or has convinced herself that they don't know, that she was asleep for years, and has been trying to, no, she doesn't, that they don't know that she forgot her memory. It's that one. It's not her sleep, right?
Yes.
Just her memory. I'm also just
But I'm like, you would have an entire year where you would have no idea what the fuck has been going on. So, you know, a lot could change in a year, especially if you handed everything over to them. And it sounds like, to me, the thing I was laughing at was going, Nadia woke, our lives have become increasingly difficult. You mean Vlastimil can't feed his fucking worms on time? You mean Volgora can't fucking rage at people and do nonsense garbage all day? You mean Volta can't eat out the kitchens to her heart? Like, what plans, home skillet?
I was gonna say,
like, I have to tell you, based
or
on
what
what
lives?
Yeah, like what plans, what lives, what things have you been doing?
So I guess the question I would have, because you're right, I forgot that they knew Nadia was asleep. She was just pretending that they didn't, you know, that she hasn't lost her memory.
I haven't lost my memory.
I haven't lost my memory, except for, again, we don't know that they ever really knew her before this, because we don't know how long they knew each other, or how long she was at the castle, or how long this arrangement was going on.
Nope, not at all.
It's fine. And she doesn't remember either, apparently.
And all apparently, she's forgotten that was 6 years worth of material. 1 year is completely understandable, because, I mean, she was passed out for it, but, like, she's been here for 6 years, and as far as we know, she's only been at this castle for 6 years, period.
And she doesn't remember any of them.
Yep.
Just vague impressions of Lucio.
Yep.
Anyway, so...
I hate this man that I don't know anything
pretty much.
about.
It's fine. Sometimes you just have a seething hate and you don't know why. It's fine. What do you hate? I absolutely hate lima beans. Why? I just hate those boys. That's it. Just do. Like, I don't even know. You never even had one? No, but I hate them. You know?
Lima beans.
Oh, I'm wounded. I was just
Anyway.
gonna say, okay, so the city is post-plague. It lost both of its leaders, and it's in an economic, like, collapse because everybody's been dying aggressively.
Yeah.
And it's also falling apart in places, right? Because we've discussed this, and she specifically discussed infrastructure issues, right? And so what he's saying is the shit that was falling apart and basically the whole city going to hell in a handbasket lit on fire. It was a flaming dumpster. It's fine. Hell as a dumpster fire.
Yes.
It's so much harder now that she's awake. Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. What were you fucking doing? This again where I'm like, we've disrupted something. You mean disrupted a structure that you've literally done nothing with? Where Nadia's going, oh my god, the whole city's fucking falling apart, and RMC for the last 3 years apparently seems to be completely unconscious of that fact, and Astra's never brought it up fucking once?
Okay, so what if the city is such a huge fucking commerce city? What if it's such big of a port of trade, right? That instead of
what makes you think people would want to come here?
No, hold on, forget all that,
Fine.
forget all that. Just listen for a second.
I can't.
I just have an idea, okay? Let's say that the plague ravaged it, but as soon as the plague went away, everyone went trade. And so everyone moved in. So the actual, like, economy never collapsed at all. And since there wasn't a lot of, like, quarter leadership, you just had this massive new population. Hold on.
Nope.
So the city has no economic problems at all. What it just has is some infrastructure problems. And the ones Nadia are fixating on is just what she particularly cares about. So, like, everything was fine until she started whining.
Okay, so I just realized something really horrible that I haven't thought about for a while.
Oh God, do it.
We are on an ocean side.
Yeah.
We are a massive trade. we are in a massive, like, trade epicenter, I'm assuming, based on the structure and also the fact that they keep talking about all the ships and the boats and people coming and going all the time, right?
Yes, because you don't just have that for people taking vacation. You're shipping stuff.
I was about to say, everybody in the world should have the plague.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, and of course, though, everybody would stop coming here, because you'd be like, that's Plague Central, but it's already gotten out onto your ships. It's already taken over a lot of your crews. Like,
we're suggesting quarantine was top marks here. Top marks and implemented.
Why you guys are like Vietnam? Excellent. You deserve way more credit than you were ever given.
That's
but
what
like I'm saying, like that's insanity though. Especially with the fact that like it got into the water. I'm like, do you know then how many other things it's poisoned? Because you remember from Julian's Rat, I was like, what the fuck? Like, we're talking about a global pandemic, potentially it just started here, and for some reason, it's managed to get under control when nobody has any idea where it came from and what it's even about.
So we have outside ideas of what it's about based on the other route.
No, I know that.
But
I'm like, even here, I'm like, just for the structure of
No, I know. And what I was gonna say is the only thing I can come up with is because plagues, they spread like crazy like that. I was just
particularly in ports.
The only thing I've got is it's a magical plague and it doesn't exist past a certain point. So you have these people that are literally infected going, oh my god, we need to get away from here. And you know, the way you have your zombie bite victim, we'll just take the dying with us because, you know, they're a family. We can't just kill them or leave them. And they get cured once you get far enough away. It just goes away.
It would be wild. But then you'd never have any reason to come back here, which completely dissolves your idea of going in and people would come in. I'm like, nobody would come back.
Like I said, no one comes back, just new people show up going, oh, the plague is resolved in this massive port city that I've always wanted to go to.
Except for the fact
again, I don't think it's true. I was just going, maybe that's what
But I'm also
thinking.
like, again, how do you just, like, get rid of all those bodies? Well, you know, they go across I'm like...
We disposed of 100,000 people on a tiny little island.
Yeah, that sounds like madness.
You know, there might have been some madness associated with the plague.
That's fine. Crazily difficult. Was it not Nadia who is now forcing you to redistribute your food stores to the masses? Procurator.
Not your current actual regular food, not your food production, not your food pipeline, but your food storage.
That sounds like also madness. I've never seen Volta as ever being able to be that organized at all. What? Like, I have to say, like, Volta seems like eat first, ask questions later. There is no amount of I can store this able to be...
It doesn't seem like I will direct people to do and run storage.
It's just give me food.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
Also, if you're distributing food stores to the masses, is she only in charge of what food has been directed to be stored by other people who are in charge of food, whoever that is, and they're doing the actual food pipeline? Because you've got to have your actual crop distribution and not just storage.
Yeah, no, I'm like, and also, do you handle farmers? Do you handle traders? Who do you, like...
Is it
you just handle food.
I say, is it incoming food off of boats? Is it stuff that's farmed locally? What is it?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Where does the food come from? But
what
also,
kind of food also are we talking about?
We're only talking about food stores.
Question mark.
Oh yes, this is true. But I like Countess Nadia. She always feeds me many nice snacks and scraps when I come to court.
See, that's again, I'm like, I don't really think... I like this, okay, like, I appreciate, I guess, the thing of them going, they're actually not a bunch of, like, idiots, but I'm like, as far as I can tell, they just are. I don't understand, like, everything that I've ever seen, and everything that everybody talks about, and even...
It's okay, I still think she's super cute.
I do too. I think Volta is great.
But I was just gonna go, I was like, so, there seems to be this dissonance between, I need to eat all the time, I can't function, and once I stop eating, I forget about it for a while. But as soon as food is mentioned, usually I freak out. So it's interesting that this conversation isn't about, oh my god, food, when do we eat?
Yeah.
Because that sounds, it's surprisingly lucid for her other representations.
Yes.
Without it being also going, if she had massive food stores that she was in charge of, why wouldn't she just be in them, using them, if you will?
Constantly.
Like, I don't leave because I'm doing this. And also, I desperately want to see her house now.
I do too.
Because she's like, when I come to court, so you don't live here, you live outside like everyone else.
Yep.
If the food's stored here, do you have food at your own house? Do you have servants that handle that? Do you handle your own food? Can you cook, dear? Do you just eat things raw? Just a creature? Like, there is the wheat in the field, I will mow through it with my face if there's nothing else available.
I was assuming that, like, I guess maybe in this case it's like you're just sort of put off by your own, you know, I guess, headcanon, but the thing is like, they've never given us anything at all in an entire route, period. Mm-hmm. Like, Julian's whole route was nothing but nonsense with them for the most part. Like,
Yeah, they
with
didn't-
all of them.
None of them actually displayed any of their labeled duties.
At all. Even slightly. Not even Valerius. This is why I'm like, this is sort of hysterical? I don't even know.
I also didn't even really know what Valdemar's duties were in his entire life.
either.
Like, I knew you are the doctor. You know, you're in charge of the medical stuff. You're also another position as well.
Oh,
but, like, there's no medical
they're the barber
stuff.
surgeon.
Right, but there's no medical stuff going on right now. At all. Because if you're not using the torture dungeon vivisection lab, you do nothing. There's no in-between. There's no ongoing research, there's no medical development, there's no continuous improvement, there's nothing unless it's solve the plague or nothing. It's sort of like Julian going, I have no doctor skills at all, even though I went to university to learn to be a doctor, unless I have this magic. And Valdemar going, I have nothing to do at all unless I'm basically dissecting plague corpses.
Oh yeah.
And like, there's nothing in the medical field except magic and aggressive vivisection.
Because it was like, I can't decide what they were...
And leeches. Don't forget leeches.
Cartoony.
It's okay.
Very cartoony.
Besides, we do not have that thing which we need to in order to have to accuse someone of murder.
You know, proof.
Oh, what is it called? Evidence. We do not have that which is called evidence, which is required indeed for many accusations.
So why would she say this? Again, she hasn't really added...
This is really fast shorthand so that we don't have to sit here through an entire tirade. Is the most that I can get now is that it's going, you were supposed to find out over the whole course of this, basically, evening that you would probably spend with them, listening to them, that they have literally nothing.
Okay.
They're arresting her, or at least putting her under house arrest on no evidence at all.
Also, you can't listen to them for an entire evening. You only have like an hour till the trial, but still.
I mean, all we have is however long they were willing to write, and according to them, they're like, we don't want to stick people through that. And also, Volta would just do this, right?
But again,
that's again where I'm like, I don't understand where I'm like, I cannot. You want me to suddenly go, I want to believe that these characters are suddenly way more competent than I ever gave them, right? I actually thought, I was like, that's an interesting derailment for my whole brain. Like, in the end. And now you're immediately going back to, and now they're all incompetent fucking morons again.
So the weird thing I'm having is we've talked about exposition and how it's handled in stories occasionally and who does the exposition.
Yes.
What I'm getting here is so far, Volta has really only talked about food. Where is the food? When is the food? Can I have the food? Please tell my fortune about food. All of it.
Yes.
And if you get anywhere near or far from food, the subject is food.
Yes.
So, food has just been discussed. And she didn't latch onto it other than, oh no, and then Nadia feeds me. But she didn't even latch onto, I get food here. And then she just went, but let me talk about the accusation, which doesn't feel like her character at all.
At all.
So I'm wondering why they chose her to spill this, as opposed to like, who's a Goblin Frollo? What's his name again?
Vlastimel?
Vlastimel, thank you. I keep
Vlastimel.
forgetting Vlastimel's name. As
Jay
opposed to
Frollo.
Vlastimel, I just call him Goblin Frollo.
I mean, Goblin works fine too.
Yeah, it's anyway. But I was just like,
Jareth Goblin King Frollo.
oh god. Anyway, just for Vlastimel, often just spills information or just speaks without thinking, and has like corrected his story a couple of times and been, you know, inaccurate on several things and just been like, oh, well, there's other thing, as well as not really cared, but had more information or more organization than Volta. Seems like a really weird choice for her to just spill this.
This is where I'm saying, like, I don't understand what your characterization is anymore. Like, it's fine.
Who is she? I just gets the meme. Who is she?
Do not need evidence, procurator. Facts over feelings.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Look at the facts as I become Ben Shapiro. Countess Nadia greatly dislikes her husband. All of Vesuvia knows it.
She poisoned him with the plague.
Volta.
Yes, lots of people didn't like him. I didn't like him. None of us really I wanted to eat him.
I thought he would make a good roast.
He'd make a good snack.
No, the cooks would not cook him for me.
It's distressing.
That's distressing.
And the night of the murder, whereabouts are currently unknown. No one saw her.
Giant ass party, and nobody saw her the entire night.
Nope, because it was the masquerade. This is goofy as hell. Anyway,
You're kidding.
who is to say she didn't kill Lucio? Just stick to the story and we will soon return to running Vesuvia. Once more. What do you fucking
doing?
get out of, like, running this with them? Honestly, Valerius, if you're just constantly a drunk-ass asshole, it's really easy to just be like, hey, we can put you under house arrest, you can get as much access to wine as you want, and you can just be off over in your little country estate, getting drunk and high off your ass till you fucking piss over and die.
Also, I was gonna say, if Nadia's never going to, like, actually change any of your positions or reappoint anyone or anything, you really could literally do nothing. And not worry about it.
Until the Empress and her consort decide to come up and fuck your shit up. Because
And
all of you guys seem to aggressively forgotten that despite the fact that Nadia's been asleep for a fucking year,
There's a larger ruling body.
there is a yeah, I was like, you guys are crazy. You're acting like you are isolated completely on your own and that you are kings and queens and whatever.
And that no one, again, would check in on you. And again, there was like one sibling came in secret to check on Nadia.
Uh-huh.
Why would this not be a political like a political thing?
Nightmare?
Like, if
We lost
Okay.
contact with Nadia.
I'm Empress. Forget that that's my daughter over in a little like city-state inside my empire.
Uh-huh.
Okay? She disappears and her husband is proclaimed dead and her entire city is in plague. That is when you call in more resources.
Yeah.
That is when you go, oh, part of my kingdom is on fire. Black Lives Matter. And I need to go take care of it.
Yes.
And so I will send things to go take care of it. And especially if, the plague is suddenly completely gone. Great. We'll go in for damage control because there's no rulers at all.
And we'll bring in our own staff and our own people.
And you do not show up, even if she doesn't go herself, as the envoys of the Empress, if she sends someone, and go, oh look, there's 5 courtiers here, we're fine, they don't need a countess and a count.
Yeah, they've told us it's all fine. No. Like
this
no.
sounds wild.
This sounds, especially with one of the siblings actually specifically knows that Nadia is still alive, even if
is
she's in
just
a
wiped
coma.
out. Can you imagine that they wouldn't tell any of the rest of their family?
That's insanity. This literally meant you. I'm like, no. All right.
Apparently the family is way more disconnected than they act like. If you have, Nazali? No, who's the...
Nazali?
Nazali?
No, I think
is the sibling?
is the doctor sibling.
Yes,
Yeah, Dr. Nazali.
Dr. Nazali. That's
Yeah.
what I was going to say. Dr. Nazali, Dr.
Nazali.
Nazali.
Dr.
Dr.
Nazali.
Nazali. Anyway, so Dr. Nazali was like, I went to investigate the absence of any leadership at all in the announced death of the Count, and found that, my sister was in a magical coma, and I directed the person that had been hired to tend to her how to do it properly, and then I just left and told no one anything.
Yeah.
You are not close to the rest of your family at
all.
Like wild. Anyway, we are out of time because this was the discourse.
This is also like incredibly baffling because now you've tried to establish basically something, and all I'm hearing is basically a bunch of weird bullshit where people literally don't interact with each other.
I would really love to know what these guys were doing.
This is your city-state. Holy shit, in the focal point of apparently, I guess, some part of your empire, which is actually owned by the... Fine. It's fine. So thank you very much.
Technically, it doesn't say any of those things in the game.
It doesn't.
So we don't know that this is a city-state or that there's
But
an
we
Empress
have
over it.
run into her before, and I'm going like, you've been missing. You haven't been active, you haven't been involved, you haven't said jack shit.
Maybe she was also in a coma.
She was having too much sex. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We will see you next time. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos. It is greatly appreciated when you do. We love also the support in order to save us from the algorithm because it is almighty and it consumes. Please do not let Volta eat us.
At this point, we're also really close to 600 subscribers, and I'm kind of excited about it.
I am too! Right now, I think we're at 590, and it's really neat.
It's
We've
pretty
done
neat.
so much. It's been so neat. All right, so thank you very much, though, again, everybody. Also, please feel free to go check us out on Twitch. Also, please feel free to go check us out on the Ko-Fi and the Patreon. We have some links in the description down below. As always, there are links to everything. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!